Hello and welcome to another typical Boro podcast. As always, I'm your host, Steve Dixon. Could I ask you all to please keep subscribing to our YouTube channel. Leave comments, likes. It helps us massively on the podcast. And also, if you don't follow us already on X or Facebook, could I ask you please to do so. I'm joined as always by Mr. John Cutler. All right, John?
Morning, chaps.
And I'm joined, of course, by Mr. Graham Bandera. You all right, Graham?
All good. Good to go.
Good. Well, as we all know, Boro are still top of the championship. We've got a last gasp equaliser by Sontje Hansen's Mark Hughes-esque overhead bicycle kick in the last minute of the game to keep us top of the championship. Boro were backed by an amazing 5,600 fans at Deepdale, which was absolutely fantastic. There was 3 changes to the starting lineup, which is unusual because Rob's been keeping a tight ship at the moment. But the 3 changes that came in were Matt Targett, Callie Sen, and the returning Darragh Lenihan after a long layoff. For Sammy Silvera, who had a knock on international duty but made the bench, Sontje Hansen come out the side, and Dale Fry, unfortunately, has took a bit of a knock, so hope he's back relatively soon. John, I'll come to you on the team news before the game, and also your thoughts on the first half of Deepdale.
Yeah, I was happy enough with the starting lineup. I think going forward, Targett's going to be the number 1 left back anyway, and I thought he performed well yesterday. Sene, don't mind coming in, and as you guys know, I'm a massive fan of Lenihan, so it's excellent to see him back. Only good for the club going forward, and I'm sure once he does get up and running fully fit after a few games on his belt, he won't get dislodged from the back 3. Regarding the game, I thought we started off a little bit slow. It's a tough place to go, Preston. They've already beaten Leicester and they've beaten Ipswich at Deepdale this year, and you know what our record's like there previously. So in the end, it worked out all right.
It was a bit of a bitty first half, though, John. It was a bit of a slugfest. Wasn't many chances. Wasn't many shots on goal. I didn't think the dynamic of Conway with Whitaker and Callie Sen behind brought much fruition in the first half. Didn't seem to gel as a 3, in my opinion. Whether that was just first time playing together, whether it was Preston's tactics to nullify Middlesbrough, didn't seem to work in the first half.
Yeah, they're still getting used to each other, to be fair. I agree with you, it didn't particularly work first half, but that's one of the plus points of Rob Edwards. He's not scared to make changes early doors. And as we'll talk about later, how he affected the second half.
Yeah, Lewis Dobbin put Preston in front with an excellent goal, to be fair. Middlesbrough maybe could have defended slightly better, closed the ball down quicker on the edge of the box. However, he unleashed a superb shot into the top corner, giving the keeper absolutely no chance, to be fair. Second half, Middlesbrough changed it. Bandy, I'll come to you. Proactive again by Rob Edwards at half time. Made an early change. Callie Sen apparently was disappointed to be removed at half time, and David Strelets, as he's called, came on for his debut. So Rob Edwards, seeing it wasn't working and the front dynamic of the front 3 wasn't really working, Strelets come on. What did you think of the second half display? What did you think of the changes? And I'll start with asking, what did you think of David Strelets?
His performance.
Yeah.
I thought he just lifted the team completely. We looked a completely different side when he came on. He's got pace, power, strength, a presence about him. And he put the fear of God into them, to be fair. I was just disappointed that he wasn't on long enough. But going back to that first half, the dynamic clearly didn't work. You see it after 5-10 minutes, if I'm honest. And I was crying out for a change half time. Like you say, Edwards, as normal, he's proactive as opposed to being reactive. And he transformed us, really, second half. We were a totally different side. Credit Preston, first half, they sat in. They sometimes had 7 men behind the ball, but when they won that ball back off us, they broke with numbers and with pace, and they caused us some issues. So they're a much improved side now at Preston, and we sort of played into their hands a little bit. So thankfully, he spotted that quite quickly, changed it. There could have been a case for changing it halfway through the first half. I mean, that might be to come further down the line because he is that type of manager, I think. So that pleases me in that respect. But yeah, second half we were great and far much improved. We're a bit unlucky when you said at the start of the show here, a Mark Hughes style equaliser in injury time to get a 2-2 at Preston, I'd have happily took that, to be fair. So yeah, a good point, a good battling point. We had to show different qualities. We had to dig in. There was not many standout players, to be fair, yesterday. We're scratching around for a 7, maybe an 8 out of 10 from anybody. Probably Targett, really. I think he was my man of the match. I think he's been brilliant, by the way. He's got an assist in his first game. He's got a goal, pushing up from full back. He never got in their half in the first half, which is testament to Preston and the way they played. But we had to do something. And like you say, Strelec was instrumental behind that second half performance. And as soon as Nypan come on, the whole game changed. It just lifted everybody with them little twinkle toes, got us back in the game.
Yes, the first goal, at Targett, Middlesbrough were pressing. You could see Preston on the back foot. Obviously, Whitaker went off in 66 minutes for Sverre Nypan to come on, and he had an impact in the equaliser as well. Yeah. You see a twinkle toes, got into the box, puts it back to Brilliant. Conway. Conway went to hit it, come off the back of Conway's heel and flipped up lovely, just flipped up superbly, didn't it, for Targett to come in and smash it on the volley. But he's right foot on his wrong foot as well.
Yeah.
Ayling had a similar chance the first half, funny enough, and he couldn't keep his down and smashed it into the stand. Thankfully for us, Targett kept his shot down, back of the net, 1-1. Middlesbrough on top. You're thinking Middlesbrough now are possibly out the two sides. They're the side that's going to go on and win the game. Typical Boro hits again. 88th minute, Jordan Storey, who's got previous against Middlesbrough. Corner, it was a poor goal to concede. Corner comes in, I think it was Lenihan. Was it Lenihan?
He got underneath. He was caught between a rock and a hard place. He got underneath, didn't make the jump, and the guy got the free header. So you could blame him if you want, but I thought Lenihan had a really good game, solid game to come back after so long. So we're certainly not going to dig him out. It's a tricky situation to come into a team that's on a good run, and I think he was just probably happy to get through the game without any reoccurrence of any of these ridiculous injuries he's had. So well done, Darragh Lenihan.
Cuts with 2-1 down on 88 minutes. I would be pretty confident in saying if that had been last season under Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough, I think the Middlesbrough fans would have turned and headed for the exits, knowing the game was done and dusted. But not under Rob Edwards. He's always got a plan. He'd already brought on Alan Brown for Hayden Hackney, who disappointed yesterday, was out of sorts. Hayden Hackney, I don't know if he's caught that bug that's been in the camp that's been apparently going around, but he didn't look himself yesterday, Hayden. He come off for Alan Brown in 84 minutes. We'll go 2-1 down. But again, Rob Edwards is thinking, he's proactive. Off comes Alfie Jones, on comes Sontje Hansen. Middlesbrough continue to press, and eventually, the hard work pays off and we'll get the 92nd minute equaliser. I don't think that happens last season, John, do you?
100% not. I think everything Rob Edwards touches at the moment is turning to gold. Everything's going for us, and while that's happening, we'll take it gladly. You mentioned Alan Brown there. The defender made a great block from Alan Brown before the goal as well, where we had a bit of a chance. He's a quality addition for a squad that's hopefully going to be going for promotion. But yeah, we showed fighting spirit. The lads are obviously buying into what Rob wants them to do, and when we're behind, I think they had full confidence that they could get back into the game, and we certainly didn't see that the last couple of seasons. Yeah,
you touched on it before, Bandy, regarding there wasn't anybody massively outstanding. It was it was a grafting point in the end. Who was your man of the match, Cuts? I'll come to you for yesterday.
Well, I think Targett was head and shoulders above everyone else on that pitch for us. I thought he was excellent. Second half, going forward, I thought he did really well, but some of the slide tackles he was making, defending, he's good in both areas, at the back and going forward. And in the previous left backs we've had, they've either been good at one or the other, where he looked solid at both. Quality addition. Let's hope he can stay fit all season, and I'm sure he'll be one of them that never's less than 7 out of 10 for me. I think he's a solid pro and an excellent signing.
Yeah, I was going to give man of the match to Cuts' dog. Go give it a bone.
So waiting for your Sunday dinner, I think.
No, Matt Targett, I thought he was brilliant. That's the level of performance I expect from somebody like that who's played 150 games for Newcastle in the Premier League. He's come in and he's comfortable. That's his position. He likes to get forward. He's got himself an assist, got himself a goal. So brilliant. Good attitude. Saw his interview after the game, and he's the type of character that I love. Just very steady away. No pretense about him. Comes in, does his job. Happy as Larry. Same as Alfie Jones, same as Callum Britton. We're buying the right calibre of player. And in games like that, they know how to dig in. They use their experience, and it's proved vital for us so far this season with these acquisitions.
Yeah, from the bench as well. You know, as I say, David Strelets and Sverre Nypan, you know, played the part with a little bit of stardust to get
Absolutely,
to get over the line. I would like to give a little bit of credit as well, but I agree with you, both of you. Targett was my man of the match as well. A little bit of credit, which will surprise a few, to Sol Brynn. He never had a save to make. He conceded 2 goals. But what he'd done all game, I think, was on 5 occasions at least, he came under pressure on crosses and took every single one and caught them. Now that just inspires your defence around you, your team around you. And your goalkeeper's coming like that, time and time again, under pressure, and taking the ball and catching the ball and killing their attacks dead. It's a huge plus. So I'm going to give a little bit of credit to that, because I don't think Middlesbrough have had that in goal for a long, long time, and a goalkeeper that's commanding. Yes, it's great to make the saves and, you know, man of the match awards for big saves, but just to have that calm presence at the back. He's good with his feet as well. He done one superb kick out in the second half that nearly put were clean through. Good safe pair of hands I think we've got in Sol Brynn. So
Agreed.
I think that bodes well moving forward as well.
Can I just mention Ayling yesterday as captain? Because I'll be honest, he didn't have his best game yesterday. I thought he had a terrible first half. He was pulled everywhere. He's out of position, and he had a tricky time. However, he recovered well second half, and last minute of injury time, he's up there to get that flick on to get us that goal. So credit Ayling, showing that level of intensity, character, determination that we need to just get us over the line. He probably admit himself he had a poor game, but he's been great in the previous 4 games. But yesterday, it sort of took its toll on him a little bit. But he recovered well.
Well, that's what we've got to keep doing, isn't it? If we're going to be serious contenders for promotion.
Every player,
Every player, whether they're playing well or not, just to keep giving that level of commitment till the end. And I think we got that yesterday. It wasn't the best performance by a long way, but you could see the players were determined to get us back into that game. And the game was never dead. And, you know, it was a deserved point in the end, to be fair. We were the better side.
Even Morris and Hackney, they would admit themselves they didn't have their best games either. They were smothered in that midfield, particularly first half. Credit to Heckenbottom, who did a right job on them in the middle of the park, and we couldn't get going. But again, they stuck to their task. They kept going. I know Hackney was withdrawn later, probably down to frustration, and tried to give the game a different dynamic. But credit to them for chipping away. It was a tough day for them yesterday, but they dug in.
Strange one after the game, Bandy. Get your thoughts on this. Preston manager Paul Heckenbottom.
Yeah.
After the game, he wants to see proof that Middlesbrough's last gap equaliser crossed the line after revealing goal line technology system at Deepdale had to be switched off before the match due to technical issues. He's hoping someone can show him a photo of it crossing the line to make him feel better, because I can't see at the minute how it crossed the line. The linesman gives it, and it's the old-fashioned, but I've just got no trust in the officials at the minute, because they try and give everything, don't they? They're trying to give fouls when there's nothing there to be seen. I'm hoping I get some video footage that makes me sleep better. So he's trying to claim that Middlesbrough's goal didn't cross the line and there was no goal line technology. Now, firstly, I'm astonished that they were able to start the game without goal line technology, because that's in the Championship in every ground up and down the Championship. So straight away, surely Middlesbrough Football Club must have had to agree to have started the game without goal line technology, or was it a referee's decision to go with no goal line technology? But secondly, sounds a little bit sour grapes to me, Bandy, by Mr. Heckenbottom.
As soon as I saw his comment, I knew it was sour grapes. I think that's just frustration, obviously. It's sod's law, isn't it? The game without technology, and we have a contentious issue like that in the last seconds of the game. So, not just frustration on his part. He should be happy that he got a 2-2 against a very good team, and we're happy that we got a 2-2 against a good team. So, he'll move on from that. I think it's just sour grapes. I don't think he needs to even bring it up, to be honest. I'm happy to tweet him a picture of that side angle of the ball clearly over the line if he's a bit unsure. Clearly a goal.
Cuts a little bit bizarre by the Preston manager to come out with that at the end.
Couldn't give two hoots if he has a good night's sleep or not. Who cares?
Exactly.
End of the game, Rob Edwards gave a lot of praise to the Middlesbrough supporters for the noise and the support that they give the side. However, he wasn't happy with one part of the Middlesbrough fan base, and I'll try and find these quotes for you. 2 seconds. There. So Rob Edwards said after the game, "I do have to say though, one thing I do want to see that response from the Middlesbrough fans when I make a substitution. We are a family, and if we want to achieve something, and we're going to progress, move forward, us, the fans, the players, the staff, have to be together. Morgan, from day one, has been coming in and been brilliant. He's been so committed, he's working so hard. We have to protect him, we have to love him. I don't want to see that because I don't think it helps us. I appreciate the support and absolutely love the fans. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but while we're in this moment and winning games and everything feels good, we'll have to look after our own. He loves playing for this football club and he is giving everything. I have to stress that. We have to protect our own and look after our own." Now, that's comments because when Rob Edwards took Morgan Whittaker off on the 66th minute for Sverre Nypan, he got some applause from the Boro fans taking the mick as he was going off, as if to say, "We're happy that you're going off." Rob Edwards was furious with that. You mentioned it last week on the podcast cuts that you didn't want to see that and you were pleased that it wasn't happening. It actually did happen yesterday. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a perfect response from Rob Edwards. Absolutely perfect. Fans pay the money, they can do what they want, but ultimately, we all want the same thing. And I think to get the best out of Morgan, that's not going to help the situation at all. So it was a brilliant response. Keeps all the squad together. They know that the manager's going to back them up. Morgan himself knows that he's not performing to how he will want to perform. You can't question his work rate. He's working hard enough. Things aren't coming off for him. Maybe take him out for a week or two. But certainly, this isn't a criticism of the fans at all. Just try and ease back on that a little bit for me.
Bandy, your thoughts on the fans' response to Whittaker being substituted yesterday? Is it just part of the game, and Whittaker's got to be a bit tougher?
No, it's not part of the game. Not when you're trying to pull in the same direction. I thought Rob Edwards' comments were absolutely bang on, and he had every right to come out and say that. It was brave of him because he's done well to build up this rapport with the supporters. He was quickly to praise us, but then he also had, he came in right at the end and just said, "I've got to say this and get this off my chest," which was strong, really. I thought it was quite powerful, but the correct thing to do. So we can nip that in the bud quite early. Hopefully the fans give Morgan Whittaker a fantastic reception on Friday night and he puts in a 5-star performance. If he starts, he's built himself up a bit of a problem now because it was clear to me that Whittaker wasn't on his game yesterday. I would have not started the second half with him, to be honest. However, I'm not the manager. Rob Edwards made a decision in the end, brought Nypan on, and he changed the game for us, which was good. So he's got a dilemma: does he start him or does he bring him off the bench to be an impact player? Personally, I think he needs to come out the firing line a little bit, and I would not start him. But I can understand reasons for starting him because he is a good footballer. There's definitely a player there. We've said it every week since we've started this podcast this season, and we backed him a lot of last season. But he's running out of time for me. He's got to start shaping up quickly. He just looked very lightweight yesterday, particularly physically. Players were sort of brushing him off the ball quite easily, and in a game of that intensity, you've got to stand tall and be a little bit stronger. The same criticisms aimed at him now that fans were criticising Finn Azaz for, which is quite ironic. And they were possibly teammates at Plymouth as well, and they might have had a hand in bringing Finn Azaz here. So there's a crossover there a little bit. But no, back to Edwards. I thought it was brilliant what he did, and I just hope it doesn't break that bond with supporters. I don't think it will, because he's strong enough and man enough to come out and own that quite quickly and be the dominant force in this. He's gone on the front foot against the fans, which was good but brave.
Is it a societal issue now, Bandy, though, as well, with footballers?
Yeah,
that,
it is.
The players, the characters of the footballers these days, perhaps aren't not quite as tough and resilient as players from the past. Because
I think it's easy to pick up one of these days and have a little rant, isn't it? I'm guilty of it. Everybody does it. These didn't exist when football, like you want to say, was football, but it's changed. It is a societal issue, and we've just got to accept it and move on. But yeah, there's no place for abuse or ironic jeers or or sort of fake cheers. Just move on. Personally, I just stay silent in situations like that. Silence is sometimes the best thing.
It's always been there, though, John. At every club's had the boo boys. It's not a Middlesbrough problem. This is a problem that's been in football forever and a day. And you go back to the Ayresome Park days when you had the chicken run and the Holgate end, and even not the players that were struggling. Middlesbrough's best players at the time, I remember, like your Bernie Slavens, one of your pals, Bandy. I remember him getting pelters for being offside and stuff by the fans. Yeah. Far, far worse than what Morgan Whittaker's getting. And what the Bernie Slavens would do is stick two fingers up to the fans and stick the ball in the net and be the hero again and get round it that way and just shrug it off. As I say today, players seem to take things to heart very easily. Like you had this situation with Finn Azar's cuts, saying he left Middlesbrough because he didn't like the way the fans were. He wasn't the fans' hero, that he could sense the fans were 50-50 with him. Some thought he was brilliant, some thought he was lazy. The players maybe need to be a little bit tougher now, John.
Yeah, absolutely is the short answer. But it's went on for as long as I've been going to games. I remember us signing John Gannon on loan from Sheffield United. In his first game at home at Ayresome Park, he was getting booed after 30 minutes. Because he couldn't put a corner in, and when
some would say that was 25 minutes too late. By the way,
it happens all the time. Players have got to be a little bit thick-skinned. Would it affect me if I was a player? I'd like to say it wouldn't. I think the Azad thing's a load of nonsense. He's just used that as an excuse to get away. But with regards to Whittaker, I just, like Bandy said, just sit there, let him go off. Personally, I don't think he'll start on Saturday, but I'm all with the manager for what he said. 100% with the manager.
No response is the best response for me, because it leaves the player wondering, do they like me or not? Well, go and prove it then. So yeah, just get on with it, but just improve your performances as well, and this wouldn't be happening anyway.
You say there about a player responding and sort of like giving the two fingers to the fans. There's nothing more I would love than on Friday night Whittaker bangs in the winner and just runs around the stadium with his shirt, swinging it around his head as if to say, "I know, I'm going to do my best for the football club." I think it was interesting that Rob Edwards said since they've come into the football club, he's worked so hard every day in training. Now, so it's not through lack of trying, and we've all agreed that he's got the ability. He just needs a goal or a really good assist. I think a goal would get him up and running and really fly. And there's a player there, like Bandy said. I definitely agree with that.
100% there's a player there, but he's not the only one. Like Dicko alludes to, there's other teams with players that get absolutely slaughtered. Bamford used to get it double barrels at Leeds United, so it's commonplace in the game. But we don't want it to happen to our players, because we should be backing them, even if they aren't playing particularly well. Just stay silent.
I think what's worked against him slightly, boys, in my opinion as well, on Saturday is obviously Middlesbrough losing the game at the time. And Middlesbrough fans are there in large numbers, and having an away day, and they're looking at Whittaker struggling, and they thought he was going to be off at half time, and he wasn't. But now, when you look at Middlesbrough's bench, and you see David Strelec sitting there, you see Sverre Nypan sitting there, you then start to think, why is he not changing it? We want them on. So the player that's not playing very well then starts to get the jeers, starts to get the message to the manager, get him off and get them on. So it sort of worked against Whittaker and Middlesbrough having all these options. If we had nothing on the bench, you probably wouldn't have got that sort of stick, to be fair. I'm not defending the fans for that. I'm just trying to say I can see the reason why the fans have done it, because they're trying to get the manager to get the players on that they know that can change the game, and that's just football.
I agree.
Yeah. I understand it from that point of view. I mean, it was also Nypan who was coming on, and I think he's already a fan's favourite. So there was a crossover between jeers, cheers. It's
That's
all
right.
a bit of a lot of mixed up nonsense, really. I think we're probably reading into this far too much. Like you say, if Whitaker turns up Friday night, has a really good game, pops a goal in, all this will be forgotten about.
You're speaking of Friday night, Bandy.
Yeah.
Another point regarding this. If you're Rob Edwards,
Yeah.
regarding Morgan Whittaker, you've come out and backed him and made your statement about Morgan.
That's
right?
what I'm saying. He's created a problem.
Now you're going into Friday night.
Mm.
The fans will be expecting Nypan and Strelets to start.
Yeah.
The managers went to town and backed Morgan Whittaker.
Yeah.
Has he backed himself into a corner now? Does he need to play Whittaker to show that he's behind Whittaker, or will it be sort of?
He will do what's right for the team, not what's right for what is right for Edwards or Whittaker. He'll do what's right for the team. Personally, I said earlier, I think Morgan Whittaker should come out the firing line and just observe, watch the game, see how he can impact it when he comes on, because he'll bring him on at some point. He's proved that he's going to bring subs on quite regularly, so everybody's going to get their fair share of game time. But I just think it's a big occasion already in the season. It'll be our 6th game, and it feels like a really, really big game. They're up there with us, and near the sort of teams that we need to beat to keep them away from us. So I think he's got to go fully loaded on Friday and go with Strelec. Try and get Nypan in the team somehow with Conway and go with that link up, Strelec, Nypan and Conway. Let's try that against West Brom, because I don't think we'll have any joy if we go with what we certainly started with on Saturday. I mean, going back to Kelly Sen, he was a striker on a wing for me. I think he's a 9. He's a runner, a willing runner. He'll run at defenders, central defenders, not full-backs. So I thought he was a bit of a fish out of water, and it was an experiment that didn't quite work. But he's got to try things. He may as well try it now early in the season and realise that it isn't going to work and use him effectively as a striker for me. Still unsure about Nypan, where he's going to play him. I still think he's a combative central midfielder as well as a creator. So that's an interesting conundrum. But he's got to find a way to try and get the best out of that front 4, 5, 6 even. Because you're looking at Hansen as well. Every time he's come on, he's made an impact. You know, he got the equaliser for us yesterday. He's staked a claim. What more does he need to do? So it's a good problem to have, to be honest. It's better than some of the problems previous managers have had, where we've been scratching around for quality. We can just pull names out of a hat now, and we've got a pretty potent front line.
So just to close on the Morgan Whittaker, we're all agreeing with Rob Edwards coming out. He said the right thing. We're all back Rob Edwards.
Yeah.
We all do want to see that again from Morgan for the rest of the season. Now, does Morgan Whittaker start on Friday night, Graham?
For me, no. So
will Rob Edwards start him on Friday night?
Yes.
He will. Will Rob Edwards start Morgan on Friday night?
I don't think he will, no. I think the players that came off the bench yesterday showed enough, and I think that's what we'll go with. I think we'll see Nypan and Strelets starting on Friday night.
Well, I agree with John. He's come out and defended him. Credit to Rob for that, but I agree with Cuts. I don't think you'll see Morgan Whittaker starting on Friday night. So I put a tweet out asking for some fans' questions regarding yesterday. A few of them come back, obviously, with the Morgan Whittaker question. Caroline Walker off the Red Radio, she asked, what's your thoughts on Morgan Whittaker's situation with the manager's comments? We've answered that. Smithborough Brian, he said, is it time to drop Whittaker? Manager understandably defending him, but he keeps picking him and keeps playing him, which is why it's not the fans' fault ultimately that, you know, they cheered him off because he's not performing correctly. We've sort of covered that as well. So I'll move on to some different subjects. Andrew Peel, who will know his message saying should Nypan and Strelets play every game from now on? It's obvious to see when they came on today how influential they were. I really do like how Edwards is not afraid to change things up early. I love to see the half-time substitutions, and he's messaging with from Sunny Sharmal Sheikh. So
I think he's answered my question. Yeah, I answered his question in my previous answer. I would start Nypan, Strelec and Conway as a front three. but I still think Whitaker will start Friday.
Cuts, would you go with that as your strongest front three for the moment?
At the moment, yeah, I don't know about starting them, where you said about starting them all the time. It depends on form and how they're doing. You're only as good as your last game, so if you get in and you grab the shirt and you continue to play well, then you stay in the team. So let's hope that happens for whoever does come in and whoever starts, even if it's Whitaker, and he plays on Friday night and has a storming game. Let's hope he continues with that. I'm not bothered who's playing as long as they're performing, and that'll be the same for Rob Edwards. He won't have particular favourites. I think he treats all the players the same, and he give them all a fair crack of the whip. It's about what you did for me lately, so let's see what happens.
Steve Trodden, he's put a question in asking, do the boys think we could change the shape of West Brom and have Nypan in a free role behind the two up front in Conway and Strelets instead of two number 10s either side as inverted wingers? Would you be a fan of seeing that change of the tactic, Graham, where we play two up front with Nypan in the hole, or are you happy the way we're going?
I'm quite happy with the system. It's proved fruitful so far. We haven't lost a game, so I wouldn't change that just to accommodate one player. But it would be interesting. You're going back to the old Juninho in the whole role there, aren't you? Which would be a delight to watch. But I think we'd get smothered in midfield. We'd have too much to do there with Hackney and Morris would have too much to do. Teams would quite comfortably combat that. They'd just put a man marker on Nypan and wouldn't make any strides into the game. The fact that we play the two behind the one just gives us a bit more width as well and gives support to the onrushing fullbacks. But it is an interesting dynamic. We might switch to that in game rather than start a game with it, depending on how the scoreline's going. But yeah, it'd certainly be nice to see him floating around in there, a bit of a free role, because he's that kind of player. He can play anywhere, to be honest. I think he's class.
Cuts, would you be excited to see that with Nypan floating behind two strikers like we did with Juninho and Beck and Ravanelli?
I think it could certainly work. I don't see it happening at the moment, but it's options, isn't it? Look at the bench yesterday. We've got options and we can change shape. You seen when he took Jones off at the end of the game yesterday for Hansen. It's horses for courses, different games. We'll see, won't we? But we've certainly got players there that are good enough to perform in them positions.
Dan Ward, which comes back to this point we've just been talking about there. Do you think we can get the players in forward positions to gel and form a formidable partnership? With so many options, are the players going to want to impress with goals rather than making the right pass? And I can see what he's trying to talk about there. And I'll mention Calais Sen, for example. Calais Sen's come off yesterday at half time. He wouldn't have been overly pleased with that. He had a couple of half opportunities in the game. One, which I'll mention in a second, was the penalty shout in the first half, which was a little bit of a talking point. I thought it was a penalty. I know Bandy didn't. And the other one was Hackney had the ball and should have laid Calais Sen in for a one-on-one with the keeper and didn't give him the ball. So if you're Calais Sen, the next time you play and you get an opportunity, are you really going to be looking for the pass when you throw one goal? Are you going to just try and score a goal? So I think that's the point that Dan Ward's making. Have we got so many forwards now that whoever's playing will they be overly selfish when they get the chances?
I think you've got to trust the players to do the right thing. We've brought in some talented footballers into the club. You just trust them to do the right thing. I don't think you'll see players taking pot shots just at the chance that they'll get a goal and they'll keep in the team. I think they'll do. You've got to trust them to do the right thing.
Bandy?
Yeah, I think with the Hackney incident yesterday, he was just driving through. He smelled goal and he scored a few of them bangers in recent times for us. So he was just ready to unleash the trigger. He didn't connect well enough with it. But yeah, back to John's point. Sene, for instance, yesterday when he came off, I think he'll be thinking, why have you played me out there? That's not my position. But it's like I say, it's early days, so players will be rotated around. I think Edwards is still trying to find that unique formula up front yet. And the only one that's sort of retained his position in the main is obviously Tommy as the 9. But even he was withdrawn yesterday and played behind Strelec at some point to try and link up. So he's still going to try and find that dynamic in the next month or so. I don't think he knows what it is yet. But it's quite interesting and it's good for us because every player that's coming in is of real quality, but they'll only perform if they're in their rightful positions, I think. So we don't want to go too long with it and experiment. He's got to find that formula quite quick if we're going to continue to pick up points and hopefully try and build up an unassailable lead, dare I say.
I quite like Conway actually dropping in behind.
Yeah, I mean,
Skrillex.
he is a good link-up player, but for me, he's a little fox in the box. He's a 9, gets on the front foot and gets a toe on the end of things, particularly from balls coming in wide positions. You saw yesterday with the second goal, he made that run again, that near post run. The defender did really well to get a block on him, ricocheted beautifully back, and like you say, Mark Hughes come up with the volley.
Aye, yeah. Question from Simon. Lots of hype about the new signings, but thought Targett was the best of the lot today. Well, we've all agreed with Simon
Yeah.
on that. He also
Suit the
says, question for the panel. Yes or no to men on posts for corners? Seems to be a modern fad to not have them, but we don't concede today if there's a man on the post for their second goal. I'll give my thoughts and bring you in. From a goalkeeping point of view, I would always love to have men on the posts. I would also love Middlesbrough to man mark and go size for size. I've always believed that's the better method. I know it sounds like, the prehistoric age now, but that's always, for me, works better than this zonal marking. I'll give an example. Newcastle United won their first ever trophy for the first time in a lot of years through that. And that was when Liverpool decided to zonal mark on a corner. 6'7" Dan Burn was being marked by 5'8" McAllister. Dan Burn heads the ball down in the corner and there's nobody on the posts. If you're marking size for size, Van Dijk's on Dan Burn. You've got men on the posts. I think either Van Dijk deals with Dan Burn or it gets kicked off the line. So for me, Simon, always men on the posts, man mark and size for size. What's your thoughts, Graham?
I'm a postman.
No, that's me. That's me.
That's you, yeah. Yeah, I'm a postman and I'm a man-for-man marker, size for size, if you can. So, yeah, it's a traditional way. It's worked for years. Obviously, coaches nowadays, they like to get a little bit more tactical, a bit more complicated. The game's quite simple, really, and this zonal business isn't for me, I'm afraid. And we did get caught out yesterday. It's easy to say that because we're commenting now after the event. But yeah, I'm a bit of a traditionalist, so I'm all for the posts and going tight on you, man, not zonal.
Cuts.
Well, I think we've played 450 minutes of league football, and it was 3 minutes to go yesterday when it's happened. It maybe has cost us, but I'm happy to trust the manager. Personally, I agree with you too. I like a player on the post, but apart from yesterday, it hasn't really cost us. So I'll be happy with what the manager decides.
I think if you dug into the stats over the years, it's probably about 50-50 in terms of goals conceded. It's just something easy to bring up because it did happen to us yesterday.
Exactly,
yeah. John asks, when was the last time we had such a strong bench? We have genuine game changers who Rob brought on at the right time again. So when was the last time we had a strong bench like this? I would probably have to say it's got to be back in the Karanka days.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah. We had an abundance of strikers then and a very, very solid defence, which is what we've got now. So that's food for thought.
Jim R, question for the panel. Given our early season success, how do you think the opposition will start setting up against us? So because we're doing well, do you think the opposition are now going to start changing their game to try and nullify Middlesbrough?
Yeah, I don't just think that's because you're doing well. I think managers do their own work now. They have all this video analysis malarkey that they rely on these days that never used to be about years ago. Obviously, they're going to try and stop what you're good at, but hopefully we've got enough options where we can change the game plan. I think Rob Edwards is someone that would do that. We've certainly got the players to change how we play. So, yeah, it's about how we cope with it. I think any successful team has to cope with that. And let's hope we have to cope with it because it'll mean that what we're doing is the right thing and it's working. So we'll see going forward. Obviously, teams will try and nullify what you do well.
I think we saw evidence of that yesterday with Heckenbottom's team because he literally did. He had a five-man defence and two sitting screening in front just to try and stem the flow. And that's why I personally thought we didn't function as well because he set up to combat us and then we had to react to combat them in that second half.
Where I think it bodes well for Middlesbrough with Rob Edwards is under Michael Carrick, lots of teams found a way to nullify it, and Michael Carrick refused to change or adapt his tactics to who we were playing. But now, under Rob Edwards, as we were just discussing before, if it's not working during the game, Rob Edwards is more than happy to switch up the tactics. And even what you've said before, Bandy, in-game management, there's nothing stopping, if it's not working with the two behind, say, Conway, there's nothing stopping him saying, right, Strelitz is going up front alongside Conway, we're putting Nypan in the hole, and we're going to change with we've got a side that can change. We've got wing-backs. He's already said he won't always play wing-backs. At times he's going to switch that up as well. So I think, unfortunately for the opposition this season, Middlesbrough aren't going to be so easy to read, because even if it's not working during the game, he's more than happy, Rob Edwards, to switch it up and change tactics. So I think teams might have a little bit of trouble on their hands trying to think Rob Edwards out. I think he's a master tactician. One last one, Paul McLean raised an eyebrow at the team selection. Both of Preston's goals were avoidable and reminiscent of us last season. That said, we dug in, kept going with a coach who isn't afraid to make changes. Jeering of Whitaker is a no-no. We're better than that. Nypan and Strelic have to start against West Brom. I think we all agree with all of that.
Yeah, good tweet.
Yeah. It's September. I've told you on this podcast, every month on this podcast, the only Boro podcast to do it, we'll give away prize draws, free, courtesy of our brilliant sponsors, Midas Claddon of Middlesbrough. So this month, we're going to give away 2 pairs of tickets for Stoke City. That's on Tuesday, the 30th September. We'll put a prize draw, tweet out how to enter on X. We'll put it out on Facebook. So please look out for that in the next couple of days. You'll have to follow it on X. You'll have to follow it on Facebook. If you follow it on both, you'll get entered twice into the prize draw tweet. So, fill your boots.
Another big game as well.
Well, it's going to be a big game, you know.
Yeah, they're up there.
At the moment, what the Middlesbrough fans want as a prize, for once, and I mean once, it's to actually go and watch the team. So
couldn't give them away last season.
So there you go. So 2 pairs of tickets. So have a look out on X in the coming days and on Facebook, and get yourself involved and get yourself a chance to win some free tickets. So before then, obviously, we've got the Friday night game under the lights against West Bromwich Albion on Friday. West Brom are currently sitting 5th in the Championship, played 5, won 3, drew 2, lost 1, 10 points. Lost yesterday to Derby County. They've made some signings this season. Alfie Gilchrist from Chelsea, who we were linked with. Samuel Illing Jr. from Aston Villa, who we know very well. Toby Collier, Man United. Chris Metten from Sunderland. Nate Phillips from Liverpool. They've spent a few quid. They've got a decent squad. Should be an interesting game under the lights on Friday, Bandy.
Should be a brilliant game. Like you said, the players you've mentioned there are all decent players. Collier particularly. I was hoping we might have been able to brought him in last season, but it never happened. I thought with Carrick's United connections, we might have been able to pull that deal off, but be interesting to see if we were ever in for him, because he's a quality player. He's really, really good. And if we don't get a grip with him, he could run things in the middle of the park for them. A strong team matched up against another strong team, so it'll be an end-to-end tussle, I'm sure. Realists would probably call that one a draw, to be fair. But we've got enough in us to go and get a win, particularly behind a vocal crowd.
Cuts, I think if you're a West Brom fan, you'll not be looking forward to travelling up the Riverside on Friday night against an unbeaten Middlesbrough side. On Friday night, I think Middlesbrough deserve 30,000 cuts.
Yeah, hopefully the fans turn out in force. You never know with night games, but the players are certainly putting it in. If you're not going to go and watch them now, when are you ever going to go and watch them? As long as you can afford it and you've got a bit of spare cash to do it and you're lucky enough to be able to do that. I just hope that it continues the way that it finished off against Sheffield United, because I mentioned last time that the atmosphere at that game was excellent. I just hope that it continues on Friday night.
Yeah, I think it will do. I think it could be one of those special Riverside night matches. I really do. Middlesbrough also have the added caveat that they know, because they're playing on the Friday night. If they win, that's us top of the league again for the weekend, flying high. Middlesbrough, when they're doing well, tend to have a good record in night matches as well. They tend to raise the game. It's going to be a tough game, but I have to say, I think Middlesbrough will be right up for it. They've got to get, the point they got against Preston was the first points we've dropped, yet it actually felt like another win, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it did. Definitely. We've had 2 1-0 wins so far this season. Let's hope we kick into the South Stand second half as well. Try and get that third game in with another goal at that end. They lost at home, didn't they? 1-0 yesterday.
1-0 to Derby County, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'd probably look at that result and think probably a bit of a fluke, the form they're in. So they'll be looking to bounce back. So it will be tough. Can't just assume that because they lose to Derby at home, that they're rubbish. They're certainly not rubbish. They're a good side.
I think by all accounts, the battered Derby, Bandy. But
we've seen plenty of games like that under
yeah.
Carrick, where we've banged on the door all game, and then we've got picked off with an 80th minute free header from a corner or something. So it'd be a good game. I'm going to predict. If you want to do predictions, I'll go 1-0 Boro.
I think it's one of them games. It sounds a bit flippant, this, but it's not about the opposition. It's about how we perform and if our players put it in. Because I have no doubt if the 11 players that go out on Friday night, whoever they are, perform as well as they can, I have no doubt we can win that game. And I'm sure that's exactly what Rob Edwards is telling them all week. And I'm sure the players believe that as well. That's the good thing at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with that, Cuts. I think if Middlesbrough go out there, pick the right side, which I'm sure Rob will, with a crowd behind them and have a right go at West Bromwich Albion. It's not that we're playing West Brom. I genuinely think most teams, if we're at it, are going to struggle to come to the Riverside and leave with a victory. I really do. I think the firepower we've got, the experience we've got, with the fans behind us at home, I think teams are going to struggle to come to the Riverside this season. And we've got to get promotion. We're going to have to make it a fortress as well. That's what we've got to do. It's been too easy in the last few years to come to the Riverside, play a certain way with bodies behind the ball, and walk away with cheap points. Them days have got to stop now, and we've got to start making the Riverside a really unpleasant place for teams to come.
My only, it's just a slight concern, is that trio of Fry, Jones and Ayling has now broken up. I don't think Fry will be fit for Friday, if I'm honest, judging by Rob Edwards' comments. Could be a few games, that one. So that triumvirate of quality that we've had, we only conceded 1 goal all season until yesterday, where we doubled our conceding level, could you say? So we've now let 3 in as opposed to just 1. So Lennon's got to come in. He's had 2 years out, and he's got to come into a system and adapt quickly. He's got to switch on, but it'd be tough. You wouldn't put it past us to keep a clean sheet, because we are a solid team. We do look like we're not going to concede goals, but that dynamic for me is now broken. So it'd be interesting to see if we can, arrest that slight slide which happened on Saturday.
On the flip side of that, I suppose Lenihan's only going to get better by playing games.
Of course he is, yeah.
We know his quality. And to be fair, he does balance it off nicely, because if you've got Lenihan on the left and Jones plays centre with Ayling on the right, it's still a nice balance. Obviously Dale Fry's got to come back in if he's fit, because he's been playing tremendously well. But I think Lenihan will only get better from this point on by playing games. So I'm not too concerned with that, if I'm being honest. However,
it's a communication thing rather than an ability thing. It's just getting used to, again, to building up that rapport. Like I said the other week, we've got connections across the pitch now. We had that back 3. We've still got that centre 2. We're still trying to work out the formula for the front 3. But that middle 3 at the back was working a treat, and now it's broken up. It's just a little bit of a concern, but it's not a slur on Darragh Lenihan, because he's a perfectly capable player. It might turn out that he's the best out of the 3 in the next 2 or 3 games. So let's see how we go with that. And obviously that dynamic with Sol Bryn, he's got to get used to another player in front of him, particularly if he's playing left or central.
Just had a smile on my face there as you were saying Lenihan could turn out to be the best of the 3. I could see Cuts in the top of the screen nodding away.
Yeah, I think it's no secret for me. I think if he can get anywhere near what he was before, I think he's the best centre half at this football club. And that's not a slight on the players that have been playing, because they've done very well. But if you get a fully fit Lenihan back and he starts performing anywhere near his capability, he's going to be in every week, which is a massive plus point for this football club. Not just defensively, also from set players going forward as well, because he's a big threat in the box. Absolutely. He is a leader. He's a vocal leader. He doesn't lead by example. Well, he does lead by example as well. But he's one of the few players we've got that we mentioned last year how much we missed him, because he does shout on the pitch. He's not scared to give someone a good rollicking if they need it. And I think, like I say, going forward, it's a massive plus point to have him back. And I think he's going to be starting the bulk of the games, hopefully, this season.
I know he was injured yesterday, Fry, but Maddo made a good point. The Teesside spine. We've now got Bryn, Fry and Hackney all performing really, really well. So that's massive for a club like us to have three Teessiders in the team and playing to the best of their ability.
Well, we've got a nice mix now of experience and in local lads as well in the team. It's a nice blend. We'll be mentioning centre halves talk there just before we finish. Just to mention another Middlesbrough player, Adilson Malanda. He was playing for Charlotte FC yesterday against Inter Miami. They won 3-0, 9 wins in a row for them. And he put Bandy, a certain Leo Messi, in his back pocket, apparently.
Right. Well, I'm just glad we've signed him then, aren't you?
So that bodes well, and it might get...
that's one to tell his grandkids, isn't it? Brilliant.
I say it might put Mr. Lenihan on his tippy toes as well, if you know his big Adilson's coming in January. So that's a good one to watch for the future as well. Abundance of talented centre-back.
Well, we've got a defender who's keeping Messi in his back pocket, and we've got a forward that put Real Madrid starting centre-half on his backside. So what can possibly go wrong, lads?
Yeah. That's a good way.
That's a brilliant way to end, yeah.
Good way to end the podcast. I can't top that, boys.
And we got Mark Hughes up front.
Well. Right, cheers for coming on, guys. I've enjoyed that.
Class.
Thank
Always
you.
good after a win.
It is. Remember, Boro fans, don't say typical Boro. Watch it, listen to it, and we'll see you again next week. Up the Boro.
Up the Boro.